Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provide a list of content warnings in the episode description.
Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And I remembered how to start the podcast this week.
You got it this time.
I was ready. I was born ready.
You were ready to go.
I was ready to go. Yeah. I was rearing and ready to go. That's what happens when you listen to a lot of pop music while getting ready.
There you go.
It's infectious.
You get pumped up.
Yeah, pumped up. Are you ready to talk about episodes 14 and 15?
I am ready.
All right. Let's start with 14.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Jump right into it. It is Careful What You Wish For with a U and a 4.
Just like but be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. You know the Pussycat doll song?
No, I know Buttons.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's the only Pussycat doll song you know?
Yes.
I know what we're doing after this.
Oh, no. All right. Open on...
You don't know When I Grow Up?
Oh, I do know.
That's what that's from.
Oh, okay. I only know the verse.
I mean, that's the what's after.
I only know When I Grow Up, I want to be famous, right?
I don't know.
Everything else
I don't know song structure to tell you what part of the song that is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know anything else. And that's probably only because it's on commercials and things, or has been.
You've never danced on a table to When I Grow Up by the Pussycat Dolls?
Definitely not. Mainly because I was not on top of tables. But I don't know. It could have been playing in the background somewhere in my life.
When I was in my sorority, we had a social with a fraternity that was a themed gathering, a TG, if you will, called When I Grow Up. And all of us wore, like different random Halloween costumes, like fireman, whatever. And I have this hilarious photo of me and 2 or 3 of my friends that were in my sorority all standing on like an elevated surface next to a pole. There's not a man in sight. It is just the 3 of us or the 4 of us having a great time.
Oh yeah.
in our pretend When I Grow Up outfits, because none of us were going to do any of these career paths. I'm pretty sure one of us is dressed as a cop. One's a firefighter. There might have been 2 firefighters.
You went the civil service route.
Yeah, we were like, you know what? Public servants.
But I mean, everything else what people grow up into, it's like, I dressed business casual for this like party. Like, that's not fun.
I should have worn pajamas and been like, I plan on being unemployed.
Right. Exactly. Or if someone's just like, I'm an artist, it's just like wearing my regular stuff.
That would have been funny, but no, we all were like, well.
Yeah, you have to kind of go like easily identifiable when it's like themes like that.
Yeah, no, but that song was the theme of the night. So
makes sense. Yeah.
There's a lot, it's a lot tied to that song.
Gotcha. Yeah, nothing. It's big barren wasteland. Some tumbleweeds go by.
That's fair. You didn't go to Rosewood. You didn't dance on tables. It's a very different lifestyle for you.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so we open on the friends rewatching the Allison video from last episode, the full video with the Ian clip at the end. Aria claims that Ian must have pushed Allie, and Hannah's like, it's probably like they were just like hooking up. Yes, Hannah, we're mind sync. Hannah wants to keep watching the video for clues, but Emily's like, I'm really tired of watching this. Fair to both. I see both sides here.
I fall on the Hannah side, though.
Exactly. Hannah's like, we got to figure this out. Hannah tries to get everyone focused up on solving the case, but Ian walks in while the laptop is open and is paused on his face, but he doesn't see it. Some like physical comedy ensues where he's moving around the kitchen but does not see it as everybody's tense, and Spencer slowly moves over and closes the laptop. And they all act weird to Ian, and Ian's like, okay, and then leaves the room. Aria asks Spencer like how she can sleep in the house knowing that he's around, and Emily says that they need to take the video to the police. At school, Aria and Emily are hanging a banner while Hannah is distracted on a laptop. Sean walks over and he has a Barack Obama cutout and asks Hannah if they only ordered Barack Obama cutouts and didn't order any Michelle. Hannah is incensed by this and goes to follow Sean so they could remedy the situation.
I mean, who wants 6 Baracks and no Michelles?
I know. So this is all for the dance marathon.
I think people are just taking photos with them.
Okay. And they just like got Barack and Michelle for cutouts.
I don't know what the fundraiser was freezing funds for.
Yeah.
I think that probably would have been helpful.
Totally. Like the theme, if they'd, I was expecting some, like a telethon or something, so that they were like gonna, and it would make sense having like the president there. It's like, do it for Barack or something. But like,
do it for Barack.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, okay, this never came back up.
It will not matter.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. Spencer walks in as Hannah leaves and asks Arya and Spencer if the group all plans on still turning in the tape to police. Spencer's worried that this is just a trap to turn in the tape from A, that A is somehow planning something else by them turning in the tape to the police.
It is a trap, I feel. It's a trap.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter anyway in the end. Spencer, well, I mean, even if A wanted him to turn it into the police, it may not be a trap. They're just kind of like working toward the same ends. Spencer doesn't believe Ian is A and that like maybe they can drop it. And Emily's like, that doesn't matter. We need to like get this to the police so like Toby can get off because he's wrongly accused.
Fair enough. I forgot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was like, there's probably other reasons we should turn this in. Oh yeah, Toby.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, did nobody else thinking about this? And it's like, no, not really. We don't really like Toby.
We forget about Toby.
Exactly.
Well, no, Spencer watched him cry behind a dumpster.
Well, now that he's chained up at home, I mean, we can.
The Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that alleyway.
Right. She's still reckoning with it, so she's not.
She's reeling amongst the idea that Toby might be a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
Hannah and Sean talk about the dance marathon they're putting on. Hannah asks Sean if like, hey, do you think your mom would like let me have my job back? And Sean's like, probably not because you yelled at a kid. And Hannah's like, can you please ask? And he's like, sure, I'll ask. Like, and asks like, why do you even need a job anyway? It's just like, oh, extra money. Ella surprises Arya at the school as she's setting up with her old babysitter Simone, who you might know from Veronica Mars as Meg. Simone she's a writer now after graduating college and now lives in New York. And Arya's so excited to see her and invites her to visit her English class to see all the friends and everything. Ella thinks it's a great idea and walks off to go talk to Fitz. Ella then arrives back afterwards after Simone and Arya catch up saying, hey, Simone, you're all good to go do that. And hey, you should like totally ask out that Mr. Fitz over there. Like that'd be like great. He's single too. And Arya is starting to freak out. Emily tries to call Maya on her cell phone, but can't reach her. Hannah walks over and asks like, what's going on? And Emily says, hey, Maya's phone has been locked and only her parents can call her. And all of mine like get rejected. And I was talking to whoever was the keeper at the camp, and it won't let me talk to her. Hannah then sees a guy across the way and is like, "Hey, Emily, give me your phone." And is like, "Don't worry about it. Like it's the new kid." And Emily's like, "I've heard that new kid is sketchy." And it's like, "No, he's all right. He'll like hack your phone for you." Hannah then sees Lucas as she's walking back into the school, and he gives her the cold shoulder. Oh, the new kid, by the way, is named Caleb. We find that out later. The 3 friends go to get Hannah as she's on her laptop. Hannah goes to close her laptop to go with them and sees like, hey, Spencer, like, how is your like music playlist online when you're here and your like laptop's not open? Spencer then freaks out, looks in her bag for her laptop, but finds that she has some other. Oh wait, no, her laptop has been swapped out with a yearbook. And the friends all run down like, what must have happened? She's like, it must have happened like when it was like in my locker. They're like, oh, the only person then that would have been able to do that is staff, and that would have been Ian
because it was her PE locker.
Yes.
He's a coach.
Right. I forget that they have regular lockers.
I never had a locker.
No. That was not my high school experience.
We carried our stuff around in backpacks, which meant that I developed back problems at like 16.
Yeah, exactly. Emily walks down the street and sees the new kid. Emily's like, hey, is my phone ready? Caleb's like, no, it's not. And she gets mad about. She's like, I need this phone now. Caleb's like, it's ready when it's ready. And Emily's like, well, maybe it'll like speed up if I give you $40. And he's like, sure. Caleb asks, like, are you trying to contact your friend and are they in rehab? And Emily's like, how do you know about that? And he's like, I just know like rich girls and these like, pretty much like I know rich girls.
Yeah, like, oh, this town is filled with rich girls, and so like if someone's not here and you want to talk to them, odds are good they were sent to the rich girl version of boarding school, which is rehab.
Yeah. Emily asks where he moved from, and he's like, no, I'm not going to tell you, but I would tell you if like, you made it worth my while or like paid for like my food and stuff. Just pretty much like, I'm not going to tell you, but if you pay me more, then maybe.
Buy me a chili cheese dog.
That's what it is. Hannah talks to a shopkeeper that obviously knows her and tries to get a job there, but gets turned down by the owner because, as she delicately puts it, Ashley owes her money. Hannah goes back to Sean's car angry and receives a text from A that says, want to keep mommy out of get mommy, she's not in prison. Want to keep mommy out of prison? I've got a job for you.
Ooh.
Yeah. Aria visits Fitz. And it turns out, it visits Fitz at his apartment, which turns out it's a surprise, and it makes him very awkward. Fitz is like, oh, I was just like hanging out here reading one of Simone's short stories, and it's like really good, and I'm actually gonna go meet her for coffee. And Ari's like, well, you didn't like tell me about that. Like, oh, okay, like I can just wait here. And he's like, like no, like pretty much gets her to like shoes her out, and Aria pretends to be okay with everything. Spencer arrives downstairs in her house to see Ian making a sandwich and asks Ian if he's seen her laptop. He says he hasn't, but like, hey, you can go outside and check the barn and see if it's in there. And he then asks her if she wants half of his sandwich, and they both need their energy for the dance tonight. Turns out he's chaperoning the dance instead of hanging out with his wife and her friends.
Very normal adult things to do.
Oh my God. If it was a real relationship, this would be big red flags. Of course, I'd rather be with, I said, of course, Ian would rather be with high schoolers. Ian says it's weird being back in town and people gossip and all that. And,
so he got a job at the high school where people gossip?
Exactly. He did tell Spencer they should put the past behind them and just try and be a family. Spencer and Hannah are at the dance waiting in line to go in, and Hannah shows Spencer her flask. This is
well, because Spencer says your backpack, your purse. Are you sure you want to check your purse because it's sloshing?
Yeah, the important part is this is Chekhov's gun. Emily walks by Ian's office and sees him put his bag away in his drawers and lock the drawer. Spencer then sees Ian checking his coat at the coat check, and tag number is 62. The friends all discuss the laptop potentially being in the bag, but Hannah's like, why would he bring it to school?
Mm-hmm. Why would he bring it to school?
This great idea is immediately dismissed. The dance competition then begins. Byron walks into the dance to annoy chaperone the dance. And Ella's like,
fun.
Great. I'm so excited to see you here. Why don't you go work the snack table?
Far away from me.
Simone greets Aria at the dance, and Aria's like, what the hell are you doing here? I'm so excited to see you here. She's like, I just stopped by because like Fitz meant, or I needed to start getting careful about
Ezra.
Yes, exactly. Because I always write Fitz, but I know I need to get careful about when people actually refer to him as Ezra. It just like makes more sense in context. She says she stopped by because Ezra mentioned he was chaperoning. Simone says, Aria's lucky they didn't make English teachers like this when I was in school. Only Simone knew the half of it. Caleb walks up to Hannah and Emily and hands Emily her phone. Hannah sees that he completely ripped Emily off, and he's like, and tells him that he took advantage of her. Caleb gets snippy back and walks off because that's Caleb's energy.
Well, and also like she offered him the extra $40.
Right, but it was 3 times the price, is what she says.
Yeah, I assume that's because it was probably $20, and she gave him the extra 40.
40. 20 seems really cheap.
The year 2010. The boy, Caleb.
Yeah. Know your worth, Caleb. Hannah gets a text.
Starts business coaching Caleb.
Exactly. Hannah gets a text from A. Job description: heartbreaker, $200 for each dance with Lucas. See, A knows Hannah's worth.
Yeah, $200 a dance.
And then it just increases over the night too. Spencer tells Arya about Ian's jacket at the coat check. Sean and Hannah dance.
Maybe that's their couple name.
Shanna.
Hannah
says, oh, right. That'd be really funny. Hannah says, hey, I feel bad for Lucas, and maybe I should, just, dance with him once. And Sean's like, he's, like, an absolute ass who's just a nerd who's trying to get his ass beat. And Hannah's like, well, just one dance. Come on. I just need to, dance with him. And Sean storms...
dance with somebody.
Exactly. And Sean storms off in a huff. Hannah asks Lucas to dance, and he tries to be, icy towards her, but Hannah's just like, come on, just one dance. It'll be fun. And gets him to dance. Emily talks to Maya on the phone outside, and Spencer walks over and hey, that's exciting. You were able to talk to her. And Emily's like, yeah, she seems really happy. And Spencer's like, you seem really sad. What's wrong? And Emily's like, Maya was there, but wasn't. And Spencer tries to cheer her up, but Emily fears that she's moved on. Simone talks to Ezra as Arya walks up awkwardly. Simone then details all these old embarrassing babysitting stories about Arya,
which is kind of fucked up, even if he was just her teacher, because
Yes.
you don't want to ever put a teenager in a situation where they feel undermined.
Yeah, exactly. It's
still a child.
Exactly. Even if there wasn't weirdness there, it's that's mean.
That's mean. Yeah, Simone is mean.
Yes.
It's not oh my God, you were so cute as a little kid.
No, it was
I loved watching you. We had a great time. She was so smart. She loved reading. She loved to watch movies.
The story was about her being scared, right?
Mm-hmm. Or she slept every night with her stuffed animal between her legs or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's just.
I mean, who doesn't use a knee pillow?
Right. Well, yeah. That is for.
And
posture.
it was a cookie monster.
Yeah,
that's cute.
Exactly. Yeah, it's mean.
It's mean.
Arya asks for coat numbers. I need to get my dad's something out of my dad's jacket. It's number 62, and so Ezra grabs the jacket.
Hands it to her. Doesn't even ask.
Exactly. Well, he's thinking about other things. He's very nervous right now. Grabs the jacket, hands it to her, and Arya grabs the keys out of there. Walks back to Spencer and hands them off. Hannah and Lucas dance. Lucas goes to walk away, but Hannah's like, why not another dance? And then they slow dance. Arya goes to see Ella and asks how long Simone plans on staying around. And Arya's acting supremely jealous, and Ella catches on. And Ella's like, Arya, I understand you're jealous right now. It's okay that your friend Simone's back in town and she's spending more time with Ezra, but when you have connection with this stuff, you just gotta strike when the iron's hot. It's all right. Don't worry, you'll understand when you're older. I love the parenting move here, but oh boy.
I think she already did strike when the iron was hot.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Hannah dances with Lucas as Sean approaches from 10 feet away from the side, glaring at her. And Hannah's like, I'll be right back, and goes and talks to him, and he's mad. Hannah then receives a text at that time, and she's like, I have to look at this. I can't, I'm sorry. I have to go look at it. And he gets mad and leaves again. And it's a text from A that says, want to raise $500 for every dance with Lucas.
Know your worth.
That's right. A's a great manager, just knowing when their employee needs a raise. Spencer goes to the athletic office and tries to break into Ian's desk as Caleb walks by and is like, oh, you need help with that? Spencer tries to cover poorly, and he's like, I can just pick the lock for you. And Caleb's like, I'm not an idiot. I know you rich girls steal. And Spencer's
the rich girls steal the smart girls pretend to be dumb, and the pretty girls pretend to be smart, and something like that. It's
trying to be opposite, oh, I know how you cover women. And Spencer's like, how much do you need to forget about this? Brian approaches Ella and Byron approach.
Who's Brian?
I know. When I look at my notes, like my
If we ever make merch, it's gonna say who's Brian.
Byron approaches Ella to dance. And Ella accepts. Byron mentions, hey, maybe we should all like go out as a family, like old times with like Simone, and we'll just go out to dinner.
Well, pizza, pizza place we love.
And Ella's like, well, I don't think I need to be there. And Byron's like, well, then it's not like old times. And Ella's like, no, it won't be. It'll be like new times. Let's not get things confused. Yeah. Me glares in next episode. Emily searches in the coat check and steals Hannah's flask. Spencer and Arya talk about Caleb seeing her as Arya sees Fitz and Simone. Spencer tries to stop Arya from approaching, but like
hell hath no fury like a small woman pissed.
Oh yeah, Arya's on a warpath, walks over there, and Spencer jumps in front of her and is like, "Hey, Ezra or Mr. Fitz, would you want to dance?" And he's like, "Oh sure," and she like grabs him and takes him to go dance.
My favorite thing is the look of bewilderment in his eyes. Like, that's a pretty good acting move. I was like,
And same with Spencer. It's just like, dance.
And then they're like dancing like this. Like just hands up, no touching.
Right.
Very appropriate. It's almost like he knows how to behave with students. It's weird how he's dating one.
Right. Which Emily's.
Okay, but like, don't you also think as a couple, they have like excellent chemistry? So it's like really fucking annoying to watch. Because you're like, this is horrible, but like these two actors have insane chemistry. But it's horrible to watch. We can talk about it more in the next episode.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't.
You don't see it. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't see Fitz. I don't get it. Well, I get it, but like I don't get it.
We'll get you there.
Well,
I hope not.
They're just gonna bludgeon me with it. Emily said. Emily.
It's just like 7 straight seasons of just me trying to convince you.
How do you feel now? That's the show asking me. Emily is alone outside and drinking from
Hannah's flask.
Jesus. Hannah's flask as Hannah walks over to commiserate with her. And then Hannah's like, oh, you drank all of it. Emily asks, like, why she was dancing with Lucas. And Hannah's like, even though you know how, like, I know you know how he feels. And Hannah's like, I feel like crap. And Emily's like, Allie did the same thing to me. Like, does that make you feel powerful? And Hannah's like, no. And Emily's like, well, Allie would be proud of you, and walks away. Hannah then receives a text. You have Lucas's heart. Now rip it out. Last dance, $1,000.
I mean, she really knows her worth.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. How many? We can do some rough math about how much she maybe made over the
night.
How
many? Because it was 6 hours.
Right.
But how many hours did she spend dancing?
Exactly. For the 200 price? And then how many hours in did it increase to the 500?
When like a dance is like, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's a song. So say 3 minutes if it's like a pop song.
A lot of money.
Yeah. There were a few songs I recognized in there from around this time. There was the Juan McLean. That's like a 10-minute song. So, I mean, you know, that one, she's not getting her money's worth. But
maybe that one was a 500 rate, you know?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I can't remember. I didn't write down at what point in the episode it was playing. Arya asks why Spencer did that. And Spencer's like, I was saving you, you asshole. I mean, she doesn't say asshole, but you know.
But yeah, hey, dumbass.
Uh-huh. Hannah walks back into the dance as Sean's like, hey, let's just forget about me being mad and like, let's go dance. And she's like, I'm sorry, I have to Lucas. Like, just don't ask. And Sean's like, okay. But you can leave with him too. And she goes to walk away and then turns back and goes, the car broke more than your legs. Something's really wrong with you. And tells Hannah they're over.
It was great. I wish I'd recorded your face on that.
It is. Right, we'll get to the later one. Oh, so funny.
You looked gleeful.
It was really funny. Because you know how I laughed about him being called a goober. This is such a goober move of like, I'm gonna use like my worst put down. Like,
would you have bullied like that if you had been hurt in high school?
No. I was much more like a Lucas. I'm just gonna huff quietly in the corner. I'm just gonna be icy to you.
I was somewhere in between Spencer, Aria, Allison, which is probably a problem.
Spencer, Allison. So you're gonna charge at him, but like
then like
really
second guess myself, and then like also like protect myself, and then also like I will fight you, and I'm probably misled.
I will tear you down.
Verbally, not physically. I have no physical violence in my body.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't seem like Allie ever had to throw hands.
I'm just imagining because like in the pilot she was 12, like, having to like spar with a 12-year-old.
Really intense action scene of just. Okay, wait. So then he leaves. Lucas sees this happen, so walks over to her and is like, "Hey, are you okay? Do you want to like step outside and like talk about it?"
And she's like, "No, I gotta dance with you."
Exactly. So then they slow dance and she cries. Spencer and Aria see Emily swaying in the corner, so it's like, oh my god, she seems really drunk. They walk over to help her as Emily stares down Ian, and she's like, he shouldn't be here, and Toby shouldn't be on house arrest. Like, I'm gonna go say something to him, and like they can't hold Emily back.
No, so she's a swimmer.
Exactly, she's stronger than all of them. Emily charges at Ian and is like, I know what you did, and it's like, and you're not gonna get away with it. Yeah. As Aria drags Emily off, Spencer goes to leave too, and Ian grabs her and it's like, we're gonna dance for a little bit.
Which is creepy. He's an adult and a teacher at the school. Help! Yes. SOS.
Yeah, and he's grabbing her by the arm.
Mrs. Ian... Montgomery.
Exactly.
Aren't you in charge?
Oh my god, that's just that's the move. They should be doing that this whole time.
Ella.
Yes, exactly. They could I mean, I never called any of my parents' friends by my first name, so it'd be Miss Montgomery.
Yeah, Mrs. Montgomery. Same.
Aria's mom. Mama Aria.
Mama Montgomery.
Exactly.
That's what it would have been with my friends. We just called everyone's mom.
So then they forces her to dance, and Ian's like, what was she talking about? Really creepily. And Spencer's like, Emily knows about us. And Ian's like, who else knows? And Spencer's like, no one. Ian's like, well, they better not. Like, they
you better be telling the truth.
Exactly. You better be telling the truth, or someone is going to get hurt.
Yeah, you kissed a minor. Go to jail.
Multiple.
Yeah, but Spencer can go and say that he kissed her and put him in jail. Done.
That's true.
Done and done. We don't need to worry about what happened with Allie.
Yeah,
get him behind bars.
Well, they did have the tape.
And then you'd know if he was A.
Yeah.
I'm smarter.
The friends all then work. Yeah, exactly. The friends all meet outside the school, work out that Emily should just go stay at Spencer's because she doesn't want to go home. Fair enough.
Yeah, she's drunk and she's mad at her parents.
Exactly. I was gonna say she's drunk and has to go home to Pam. She'd probably like call her Pam and get mad. That would be funny. Spencer is like, you can stay at my house.
Did you come home drunk and call your mom by her first name?
No.
I was gonna say.
I didn't say I would do that. I'm saying like
it would be
Emily
good TV.
with like a full head of steam would do this.
KKK. I was just checking.
If she's going after if someone that she thinks is a killer, like what's going to stop her from like reaming her mom?
All right. Accept.
But me? No. Me, high school Brenton would not have done that. I wouldn't even do that now. I don't want to talk. I'm gonna go hide upstairs.
That's fair.
Back in high school,
he's 30. He's hiding in his room.
Yeah. Back in high school, too scared to do it. Now, I would want to deal with any fallout of starting drama when I'm drunk.
No. That's okay. I accept.
Exactly. Spencer is like, hey, everyone else should stay at my house too. I don't want to be like alone pretty much when Ian gets home. Lucas stops Hannah before they leave, and he's like, hey, can I, now that you don't have Sean walking home, but how about me? Hannah's like, Emily really needs me, so I'm gonna go with them. And Lucas looks confused and is like, okay, and goes and walks away.
But there is a really great scene of Spencer trying to get Emily into the car, and Emily goes, I can open my own door.
Right. Love it.
And I was like, drunk Emily might be my favorite version of her.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I'm done.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Hannah goes to grab her scarf out of her pocket, and a giant bundle of cash pops out. Arya and Fitz, I thought Arya was with them coming out, but apparently she wasn't. Arya and Fitz talk at his car about Simone. Arya's like, I understand, like, she's a writer and does all these cool things, and she's your age.
And tall and blonde and pretty.
And you can go out in public with her and kiss her in public and do all these things, but, like, you can't with me, so I understand. And he's like, Arya, I'm already in love with you. And then he goes to kiss her, hesitates, and they then smile awkwardly at each other. Emily goes to call Maya before Hannah swipes her phone and is like, you'll thank me tomorrow. Never call someone when, like, you can't
friends
take
don't let friends drunk dial.
Yep, there you go. Emily apologizes to Hannah for being mean, and Hannah's like, no, you were right. Like, I was worse than Allie tonight. And I'm like, and she's like, but I had to, and like starts to like divulge things, but then sees that Emily's like fast asleep. Hannah then takes off her shoes and tucks her in. Yeah, good friend. Spencer throws away the sandwich from the fridge that Ian made her.
He saran wrapped half a sandwich and left it for her.
This killer sandwich. I'm assuming because he left and he had left the sandwich for her in the scene before that not Emily, Spencer then looked at the sandwich and was like, well, I can't just like get rid of it, and saran wrapped it and put it in the fridge.
Oh, I thought he left after her.
No, he left before her. He left it on a plate for her.
But he left the house after her.
Before her.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought too, but then remember, it's coming up in a second.
That he left the laptop there?
Uh-huh.
But we don't know that it was him. Okay, wait. Let me finish.
You keep finishing and all.
Yeah. Hannah returns to the kitchen. Hannah sees Spencer's laptop on the coffee table and is like, hey, did you notice that there before, Spencer? And Spencer is like all excited about it, opens up the laptop and finds that the video's gone and the trash can is wiped. Or recycle bin. Spencer then finds an image of Allie on her desktop of the night when she disappeared with a caption written on it that says, watch your backs, I didn't. Hannah mentions that there's a shadow behind Allison and saying, like, it looks like someone was following her. Do you know who that was? And Spencer's like, no, I have no idea who it was. Ella is working the coat check as we get someone with a first-person POV walk up, and she hands them a leather jacket and gloves from the coat check and says, hope you enjoyed the dance. The end. See, that's why, like, when you see the picture on there from A, then I'm like, oh, that's not Ian.
For some reason, I thought she said earlier that he wasn't there when she left, but then she said he left after her at the end, so I wasn't sure.
Oh.
But I'm not sure. Let me look it up. Episode 14, season 1. Okay, while I look this up, my question for you is, do you think he poisoned the sandwich?
No, but I think, from Spencer's point of view, him touching it and making the sandwich is poison.
That's fair. You know what? That is fair.
I'm not going to accept a sandwich from this, this gross dude, and who I think is a murderer at this time. Or is at least involved in nefarious things, which is 100% true. That man is 100% nefarious, and only gets more nefarious.
He does get more and more nefarious. I don't know. It's not on the wiki, so we'll have to either rewatch or just let it go.
Okay, but either way, I think that the laptop was stolen by A.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember because I remember being confused at the end. I was like, I think I missed this timeline somehow. Because at one point I thought she said she left before him.
Gotcha.
And then another part I thought she said before that, I thought she'd said that he was gone when she left.
Got it.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, sandwich in the fridge.
Okay. How much money do we think Hannah made?
Oh, okay. All right. So
it's all in hundreds, with it just based on that wad.
Right. So all in hundreds. That's probably in that wad. 1,000 to 2,000, probably, let's say 1,500. That's what the diff.
Because she would have gotten 1,000 for that last dance alone.
Right. Oh, yeah. So then maybe she didn't do do too much. So I guess maybe only like $2,000. I guess she didn't do that many dances with him. Maybe like
at least
one
that
or
we saw.
let's say like, well, let's see. So she did 2 dances or maybe 1 dance at $500.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 or 4. They say 3 dances at $200. So she did like 5 dances with Lucas. Yeah, and poor Lucas, of course, is very confused.
Yeah.
I get Lucas.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand. He's just
Mhm.
like, wait, but like, and then it also doesn't have the emotional maturity yet to be like that we can just dance and just be friends and things. It's like, oh no, she's showing interest in me again. Does that mean like, start then projecting out and things? So I understand that teenage boy.
Well, and you
brain
want to
about it.
see what you want to see in people.
Totally.
So like if she's giving you attention, you want to think that that's because she wants to give you attention in a romantic way, because that's how you want to give her attention.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a really good point. So he's like seeing it all as romantic. But really, I thought he was gonna find out. Maybe he will in the future find out that like she was paid too, which is like something that A now has over Hannah. She's racking up a debt.
Hannah really is. Plot happens at Hannah, and we'll talk more about that in the next episode.
Yeah. Or to just to that family. What's their last name?
Marin.
To the
Marin women.
The Marin women. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, maybe that'll be something in the future. But poor Lucas. I feel for him in this episode.
Yeah.
And just in general, like even when he's like being like mean to her, it's because he just doesn't have emotional maturity to deal with it and like not be an ass about it because he also feels embarrassed by it.
We've weirdly done this thing as a society where we've made it really like embarrassing and shameful to have feelings, and we make fun of people and especially women, but then like because of that we then teach men that having feelings is a feminine thing and you should be embarrassed by it.
Right. And that also a like romantic rejection for like as like a guy is this deeply embarrassing thing about like who you are.
Exactly. Like, oh no, you like someone, so therefore you are a failure if they say no, because you should be able to get who you want.
Right.
Also, women are objects. Yeah, we hate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of romance,
love is in the air.
Ezra, Arias, Simone.
Here's where I go. So there are too many flags, and actually here's the core of like why I find the I understand at a certain point why people like Ezra and Arya. It is like they're both, whenever they are in scenes when they're together, there is that like passionate side. Like
it's very dynamic.
Things are very passionate when like they have those chances to do that. But I don't know Fitz enough as a character, because right now the two things are I'm in love with you, Arya, and Arya, like I need to hide that we're romantic. And there's like certain things that like that just like bug me about it, like where he gets like so awkward about her like even staying at the apartment and didn't tell her that he was having like lunch with Simone and things. And it's just like red flag.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, he's just, I don't find a lot of positives about the guy to be like, yes, I love their like romantic partnership and I find this charming. No, he's just kind of flat to me in terms of that regard. So I find like I understand why, but I don't personally see it.
They haven't built him out as a character fully yet.
No.
Season 1 of Everyone is very two-dimensional. Like these characters get much more complex. I mean, except for maybe Hannah might already be like fully complex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hannah is. I think Spencer is. Yeah, even other side character stuff I find more interesting than Ezra,
Hmm.
who, yeah, I think
But he likes books.
right, exactly. Man likes books and is vaguely into writing and likes a teenager. That's kind of like our.
What do
our
you think
three
he writes
things.
about?
God knows. I have no idea. He's just vaguely an English teacher. So then, like, all the stuff that's discussed, because I mean, which makes sense with the show, is just like To Kill a Mockingbird and things which read in school. But like, other than personality traits, like when Arya's not there, what is he doing? I have no idea. What is this man?
He's an
do?
NPC.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like sitting at his like fake typewriter. There's just, like, I don't know who he is enough outside of like the dynamic of that relationship.
Do you ever really know anybody?
I hope so. Yeah, maybe later I'll come back around, but I just don't get it.
No, you're allowed to feel very weird about this relationship. It is an uncomfortable concept just to begin with.
Right. And
It's bad.
Exactly.
If it was real, it would be a really big problem.
Right.
Because it's fiction, we can play a little bit more with it and be like, that's not good.
Right. But I just don't see the charming Mr. Fitz. He's just kind of like or Ezra, I should say. The charming Mr. Fitz. That's my new book. About,
What are you going to write? You don't know anything about him.
about
It's
a
going
love
to
of an English gentleman's life.
be an English gentleman.
but yeah, and I don't know. I don't get it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What about the Emily drunk Allison speech?
Oh yeah,
She
I love it.
Shoots to kill.
Exactly. Yeah. She'd Emily, I like drunk Emily is very funny in this episode because it's like, I'm just gonna say all the things I don't normally say, like in terms of like anger towards like people. So she's like, not the like drunk thoughts are thoughts. It's just like the first negative thought I have in my head, I'm now voicing. The aggressive side comes out. And so
when you bottle
it's
everything in, everything comes out, including
Exactly.
things that aren't necessarily the truth.
Because yes, the speech about Allie is right. And she does. I understand her feelings about mapping this onto Hannah because she doesn't understand what is going on, and it does seem like she is just like leading on this like kid for no reason.
Well, and Hannah kind of became the new it girl, so she
Right.
became Allison.
Right? Yeah.
So it's also that.
I always have to remember that.
Yeah, because we don't see our Biffle Moni.
Right. Oh yeah, Mona's gone.
Where was Mona?
I know.
Was she not at the dance?
No Mona, no Toby. Well, I know why Toby isn't at the dance, but I just meant in these episodes this week.
Yeah, we didn't see any Mona.
Mm-mm.
Huh.
She's on vacation, I guess.
Where do you think Mona went on vacation?
I was jet setting in France.
Oh, the south of France.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, you should go to Italy. I love Italy. But what was I going? Oh, Emily being drunk and aggressive. So yeah, that stuff is great, and I know why. Then Hannah feels bad because it's like I can't feel like I can't tell you about being ransomed. Ransomed by A. But yeah, poor Emily of another classic high school thing of reading way too much into this person that is like far apart from them and like a new-ish relationship. So like, oh my God, they must have forgotten about me.
Yeah, you think that's what's happening?
Yes.
You don't think Maya is actually distant? You think Emily's just insecure and a little anxious?
Yes, I think that's 100% what it is. Okay, so going back to last podcast episode, of you asked me a bunch of like relationships of like what the timing is for this stuff. So I was wrong about Sean leaving.
He's gone. I think we might see him again. I don't remember.
Right. I put goodbye Sean
You'll
in my
never
notes.
see me again.
Pretty much. Or you could pop
I'm
back up.
only singing in this episode, and I apologize to everyone because that's not really my life skill.
But the relationship, which I had said would be the next
Dunzo.
podcast. And then but I think I am still on the right track about Emily and Maya, that Maya's going to come back from camp.
How long until Maya comes back?
End of the season. And then Emily...
All right.
Exactly. End of the season, so that's not too far away. That's
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's only 20 episodes in the first season.
yeah. So like within, I'd say 3 episodes.
It's a short camp, but okay.
Yeah, but it's
How quickly does time move in Rosewood?
I have no idea, but I'm gonna guess my guesstimate with nothing else going on is that the end of the school year is going to be the end of the season.
I will say we do get in the next episode we see the date of where we are because we see the tombstone.
Oh,
So it's in 2011.
Got it.
So we are in the new year somehow. So we skipped the holidays
Yeah.
which makes sense. I think they tried to do it timely because this would have come out in January of 2011.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then this would come out then. Okay, cool. Got it. So yeah, I think I'm still on the right track that Maya's gonna come back, but Emily's gonna have someone else, and it's gonna be awkward that way.
Ooh. We'll unpack that later.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? That might happen.
We'll take off our swim caps and look into that.
And then who was Spence? And then I was also wrong about Spencer having a new love interest this week. Spencer has her hands full with her home.
I don't remember when her new love
Ian.
interest becomes a thing, but it's before the end of the season.
Yeah, I should have guessed that like Ian would occupy a big part of Spencer's plotline because
he's in her house.
Exactly. Because he's occupying a big part of her life.
Do you think we're gonna get someone new for Spencer? Like, are they coming from the outside, or are they someone we've already met?
That's my guess. Is it's going to be a new person, for Spencer. Oh, no, I think new person for Spencer.
We're always getting new characters on the show.
Exactly.
There's a character that comes up later named Andrew, but he kind of looks like Sean in my head. They don't if you look at them next to each other. But so I'm always like, is that the same guy? Is that supposed to be the same character? And then I'm like, no, it's 2 different blonde dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Hannah and Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah. Oh,
This is just this episode. We can dig into it more on the next one, but
right. The same thing goes for this. It picks up a little bit more next episode, but Caleb in general.
What do you think of Caleb?
I think he is someone that will grow on me. And this, if I had watched this when I was younger, this would have been my dude. Like
before Toby.
Yes.
Okay.
This because like I wouldn't have liked the character that is more overtly emotional when I was younger. I would have liked the guy that is aloof and cool, and he's not cool in like the like traditional sense of like jock. He's like from the outside, like
he's not like other girls.
Exactly, 100%. And he's aloof and doesn't like lets things roll off him, but he's got that emotional center, like
he's got a big soft heart somewhere deep inside.
Exactly, but he's like strong on the outside and able to do stuff in. So that would have been like that was the dude like that I wanted to be. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's cool. Like he would have been my favorite character. And now that I'm like, almost 30, I'm like, okay, let's get to the part where you drop the act.
Yeah. When do we? I will say I'm pretty sure we dropped the act pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
We're moving very quickly with him. I don't remember moving this quickly with him.
Already next episode when he finishes his like plot line with Hannah, it is already like, okay, we're starting to move into him softening up. So yeah, right now I'm like, okay, because this also, I think at the time we've moved a little bit more away from this where like this was the cool, edgy, like kind of love interest to include in there of like the guy who's like Han Solo type almost and like other fantasy things where he's like, like he charms the other person like by being like kind of cantankerous and like against them and like a little bit of negging, but like you can't help but like love him. He's not quite like scampish, but like he is like kind of like, oh, like whenever I see you I'm like gonna like make sure at least like with Hannah it's always like some sort of like banter.
Very Jess.
Yeah, but like softer than Jess. Like Jess is also like icy and cold more. Where like this is like every time he sees them or sees Hannah, he like has to say something.
Yeah.
To like try and like at least like get under skin or get a reaction. Where like Jess will just be like quiet and be like even if it doesn't make sense, it'll just be like, What book are you reading?
I think the WB lot has to have one brooding boy at all times.
Exactly.
Stars Hollow cannot have a non-brooding boy.
No. And I just think like that type of like love interest isn't quite, or that type of like character isn't quite like as exciting, or it's more like, it's kind of like crystallized, and it's like, oh, this is kind of a
this
bad.
This is 2011.
This is kind of like a bad way of going about things.
Don't worry.
But I think he's fine at this moment. Again, it's just
we'll put him through the dryer. He gets softer.
There you go. I'm just like, okay, when does he drop the act?
The alley photo in the yard.
Mm-hmm. It kind of
it already unraveled itself, like we already know, but in the next episode. But
you know what it made me think of? Those like blurry photos of Sasquatch. It's the only photo evidence we have of an Allison.
You might have to tone down my mic. I cackled.
We've got a gate on here. It'll be all right. I don't think it's possible to push into the red.
I don't know. I do know that.
Got a noise gate. I think we're good.
I never thought of that, but it's so true.
That's what it looks like. Can't help us like moving like this.
It's an Allison Sasquatch.
But I immediately knew. I'm like, oh, that's Spencer's shadow.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, because Spencer cops to it the next one. I'm like, oh, because we already know that Spencer was not in the barn with them. From the pilot.
Yes. Spencer's whereabouts remain complex.
Yes, and we get details on that next episode.
And we don't know the timeline too of like when that flashback scene is, like when that is in the night.
Right.
I can't tell you.
I don't
know.
Hannah and Arya are passed out. That's all we know. Because they didn't know that.
Or was that before they went and got in the barn?
My guess is no, it was after, because, well, I guess we could. My guess of the timeline is like they're already in the barn. They had Hannah and Arya passed out. Spencer had gone back in for whatever reason. Maybe see about Ian. Allison stopped her, chews her out over Ian, and then goes to leave. So then Spencer chases after her, can't find her, and then goes back to the barn.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Knowing
also, time could be like non-linear. She's like, I am 15 years old. I'm at my house. I'm arguing with Allison.
Time is non-linear in the show. I will let you know.
It is a year later. I am 16. I'm dancing with my boyfriend Alex in the kitchen.
When we have the entire like plot of everything that happens the night Allie went missing, there'll be an episode where we should have most of it. It's way down the line.
Oh, I'm sure.
We can draw it out, and I think we're still like, I think there's still things missing.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of pieces there, because like, where does Allison go when Spencer can't find her? According to my timeline.
Or is she at the kissing
rock? This is
rock?
the Brenton timeline. TM.
We need to make you a chart so you make it as we go, and then we'll compare it to the real one.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Oh, damn, I get it. Yeah, I gave myself homework.
You gave yourself homework. Make a chart.
Yeah. I'll work on it.
And then you can
graphic design is my passion.
Present it to the class.
Poster board.
Yeah, you can use my corkboard if you need. We'll just draw out your timeline. Okay, so secret recap. Secrets. Okay. Those are my secret.
Let's start with Hannah. Everything going on with A right now. All the threats about A making her do things, and also her family's money situation. Spencer. Oh, that she is the shadow behind Allie. Emily.
Do her friends? Oh yeah, her friends do know about Melissa trying to get pregnant because Hannah goes, "Oh God."
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if Emily has any, because I think they all know about the parent situation and Toby, because Emily's very blatant in this episode about being like, "Stop it.
You were wrong."
And it's Thank God for Emily. Emily doing good work these episodes. And then
Arya.
Arya, we
Her friends know, but her parents don't know about Ezra.
right.
Or Mr. Fitz, as Hannah calls him.
Exactly. Yes. Next episode, like, yeah, this is why Hannah's my favorite. I don't think she has anything from her friends. And did I already do everybody? I don't think Spencer has any either from her friends.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hannah is just the one on the hook right now.
Yeah.
Bad.
Relationships. We've kind of gone through them. We've got Hannah and Sean over.
Yep.
Hannah and Lucas, not romantic.
Yep, not happening.
Hannah and Caleb.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Caleb.
I told you last night. Yeah, is it Caleb? Is that their name?
You create your own ship name for him.
Okay. Kaylana.
Where did the O come from? Oh, Lana.
Kale, I guess Kalana would be.
Kalana.
Yeah, because it's Hannah. Yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, Haleb would be much better, or Haleb.
Haleb.
Yeah. As soon as he was like introduced, like with Hannah, I'm like, oh, that's her new love interest.
They have good chemistry too.
Yes.
Like the two together go really well. They spar well.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that that song. I'm just gonna use Han Solo again as shorthand. Han Solo type of banter of like Carrie Fisher and and Harrison Ford. It is very yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, this, like, I understand where you're going with this. And then
what was your ship name for Emily and Maya?
Yeah, Amaya or
Emya.
Yeah. And then Miley, I think was the other one. Yeah, I think that's on the rocks because Emily is in her head. Understandable.
She's in her head and she's in the pool.
Well, that's the next episode. And then Spencer is just trying to keep her head above water with Ian and Melissa, and Ezria is is gonna Ezria.
Ezria's gonna Ezria. Oh, you hate them. I love it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's problematic.
Just like Arya, I don't know, because there's that like hot and cold aspect of like, ooh, like of him like icing her out at the beginning of the episode. I'm like, ooh, this is rough.
Well, I think it really shows that power dynamic in that relationship. Like what I wish they had done when they aired the show was they had put like a, you know how like when TV shows had like there was that, what was that, Secret Life of the American Teenager, the girl, I think that was later, it might have been at the same time, I can't tell you, but it was like Shailene Woodley was in it, and she was like a teen mom and like got pregnant, and like they always did like some sort of like weird, I assume it was like Christian or like safe sex speech. I can't remember which direction it went, if it went in abstinence or safe sex, because it didn't really matter to me, because I was watching I was like, what's gonna happen, and then I gave up watching the show because it got really bad. It was so bad I quit. That tells you something. But they always did like a PSA, you know what I mean, or like in how in episodes of like Seventh Heaven they'd like PSA like the drug things.
Don't have paint.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did that, right?
Yes, they definitely did.
But they did not do that with this show. Like, don't date your teacher. And I feel like maybe they should have. They should have said like, hey, these are signs of grooming, or these are signs of inappropriate relationships. If someone is waiting until you're 18 to date you, and they're like significantly older, it's a little creepy.
Yes, it is.
If a 19-year-old is waiting till you're 18 to date you, not as creepy. I mean, they could still be a creep because people are people.
Right, exactly. But that would make more sense of like high school's worth of difference.
Like, let's say Toby was 18 and Arya was going to date Toby. And it was like, he's like, wait, I want to wait until we can be safe because I don't want to go to jail again.
Right. Can't have anything else on my record. But like seniors dated freshmen. Like that kind of stuff happened. And while it's like, still not good because there's still like that difference, kids being kids, right?
As teenagers being teenagers and not seeing the difference, it's very different than an adult not seeing the difference.
Yeah.
And like they never once, because I totally get why it's like played in the way it is, because the show is written from the girl's perspective.
Yeah.
And it is this like forbidden love romantic thing for Arya because she is the child.
Yeah.
And there's no adult perspective on the show.
Right.
And when we talk about adults on the show, we talk about it from the teen perspective, which is great. I love that about the show. And I think they do a really good job of like subtly showing these things.
Right.
But if you're a teenager, it's going right fucking over your head.
Right.
Just flying right over your skull.
So yeah, exactly. You know, we've talked about it before, but that's why I do understand why there is this big thing about them. Because it is very, when they do things, it is big romantic gestures and everything is very passionate. But when they have when Arya is freaking out, it ends with, "Oh no, I am already in love with you." So I get it, but I don't get it from a personal standpoint. I get it. I understand why people are interested in it, but it does not work for me.
Are you still suspicious of Ezria?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and that's mostly because I don't have better options at this point.
That's fair.
I do not think the shoe is going to drop like I'm hypothesizing, but this is me working with the clues I have.
This is what you got on the board.
Exactly.
You're sitting in that conference room. You got your stacks of donuts in front of you.
Exactly. And I'm going, they're like, this is our best case. We should like move on this now. And I'm like, something doesn't add up. So I don't think that's how it's going to go, but that is still my best guess with the red string on the cork board. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yes. And
so I think he is just guilty of what we see.
He's guilty. Any other guesses on A?
No, not these episodes didn't bring me any additional clarity on my theory from last time. So I'm holding with those theories. There's a kind of a lot of it's less about the bigger mystery in these ones, although there is, because right now we're just investigating Ian, and I don't think Ian's A. I'm still on the theory that he might have tried to murder Allison. And maybe and potentially failed. That's one of the theories. But
wait, give me more.
That's what I said. That's why like my second theory of Allison still being alive.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's why I think he potentially tried to do something, didn't do it, and she was able to like, you know.
But do you think he thinks she's dead then?
Oh, he thinks?
Yeah. Do you think he thinks she's dead?
Yes.
Oh, you see, I didn't get all of that from you last time. Or maybe I did, but I don't remember.
No, yeah.
It's hard to remember fact versus fiction in this show.
He thinks that he did, or that she is dead, but like she escaped and is, doing things on her own. But because we're dealing with that, I don't have there's like no additional movement on what I see as like uncovering A pieces, because right now we're working to uncover Ian's secrets, which is that he's not A and potentially did something. Because even more in these episodes is, well, we'll get to that next time. I'll save that.
Like A setting Ian up, kind of.
Or Jason's connection there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about Ian and Melissa? How do you feel about them?
God, it's so gross. And especially, well, but like...
do you think they're going to have a baby?
Yes, but I don't think it's... there's other reasons, and it's not for love. Like, I do think this relationship is a sham.
But do you think they'll have a baby?
Yes. From Melissa's standpoint as well.
You think it's you think Melissa's in on it?
Yes.
What do you think Melissa knows?
See, I don't know. I don't know, but this isn't... I think the sham is less about anything to do with A and the murder. It's something completely different.
Got it.
Yeah.
So he's creating a cover for something else.
Yes, and getting her buy-in, and she's in on it for other reasons that we don't know yet.
I like it.
This is my guess.
This is fun. Okay.
Thank you.
And do you weight that theory higher than your Ezra's A theory?
Yes, I feel more confident in that for sure.
Yeah, because what would be Ezra's motive?
Exactly. Some connection to Allison in the past.
Which would make him officially a creep.
Yes. But I don't think we're going in that direction with him. Long term. But that's my best guess.
Fair enough.
At this point.
Okay, and then
that's what my files say, but like My gut doesn't.
Your gut says, does your gut think, oh, your gut doesn't think it's Ezra, or your gut doesn't think it's either of those?
Doesn't think it's Ezra.
Okay.
The Allison one, I think, is just a curveball because there's like no way for me to really know until we like get a reveal on that. So like
that's exhume.
Exactly. Like that's just like a possibility that's like I feel like always hanging in the side of like these things. Like in a murder mystery of like it's always potentially revealed because they're off screen. Like so that's just a way to do like a mystery reveal, and like you would never be able to guess it because like
ABC Family doesn't show mangled dead bodies.
Well, right, but it's like, but even then, like you never see it. Like, what is it? The Agatha. I'm gonna spoil an Agatha Christie book. So if you want to skip that, then skip forward like 5 minutes or something. But
you can timestamp it.
Yes, it was like in the mini series that we watched, and then there were none, which is based off of 12 Little Indians. It turns out that like one of the people that like supposedly dies, like one of the 12 deaths, he's didn't die and he was the killer. So you know, like if it, like that's a thing that can happen, always happen in mysteries, right?
Mm-hmm. It's always an option.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing off the table in Pretty Little Liars. This is a soap opera, but with teenagers.
That's right.
Cool. And then favorite characters.
Okay, we got Hannah. I do really like Spencer. Yeah, anybody else this episode? No, I feel like Emily does an exemplary job this week. She gets some good plot stuff. I don't know if there's anybody else on my radar that I like more than probably those three.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like the protagonists are still the strongest one because I mean I'd probably throw Arya at fourth there. Strongest characters around. Because I think everybody else is like, you know, gotta, or oh god, what am I missing? Because Toby isn't in this week. It's like I completely forget he's here. Hannah, Toby.
You love Toby.
I do like Toby.
I wonder.
He's very very ripe for good mystery stuff too. Good material.
I'm excited for you to get to know Caleb better too. And then to see how those two characters play out for you, like in terms of like, do you have a favorite? Not that you have to pick a favorite child.
But if I do.
But you could.
Episode 15. If at first you don't succeed, lie again. The friends all come down from Spencer's upstairs to see Arya on Spencer's laptop. She gathers them all around again and says the picture had to be taken from Allison's bedroom. And Arya says it must have been Jason. They all, I think it's Spencer brings up that he's back in town, and they all just like say pretty much like, not it. And Spencer's like, I'll just do it. Like, I'll go talk to him. Hannah, counts the cash she received from the dance and puts it in a popsicle box in the freezer. She then picks through a bowl of extremely ripened bananas and hands one of the bananas to Ashley, who's on a phone call, and then looks at it like, what the hell? Why do we have this ripened banana? It's just a weird like thing that's happening in the scene. Ashley is on the call and gets a surprise. Turns out Mrs. Potter is coming back in to see her, even though she only comes in once a year. Hannah asks what they're going to do. Spencer walks into the stadium and sees Jason and flags Jason down, who's running the stairs. Jason asks why Spencer called and arranged a meeting with him. Seems like he was just working out.
He also it looks like Jason bulked in between the last episode we saw him in and shaved his head.
Right. He definitely looked a little different. Spencer hands him the picture of Allison, and Jason's like, I don't know if this is like actually a thing that we should be worried about, because like I got lots of bizarre things in the mail when Allison passed. Spencer's like, can you like actually take this seriously? Pretty much, that's not what she says, but she's like this feels like really like dangerous and stuff. And Jason's like, well, I'll take it to the family PI and see what he thinks. And Jason then turns to her and is like, hey, Allie's memorial was the hardest thing I've had to do, and I apologize, like, and I'm sorry for being like an ass, pretty much. And Spencer like kind of nods her head, like accepting it. Cue a cut to Emily swimming in lanes and being her teammate in the lane next to her, much to the coaches and teammates' surprise. And it kind of seems like the teammates like, okay, we got some competition. Spencer and Arya approach Hannah as she's getting off the phone with her mom. And Spencer at her locker. Spencer hands Arya tickets to a museum. And Hannah's like, oh, what are those? And Arya's like, oh, I'm going on a date with Ezra. And Hannah's like, you're going on a date with Mr. Fitz? And Arya's like, I'd rather you just called him Ezra, please. Nobody listens to me when I make this request. Arya's
including when I make this request to you.
Exactly. Arya. Interesting.
You and Hannah have a lot in common, don't you, baby?
Apparently. Arya says like, oh, and I'm actually going to be surprising him with the tickets. Thought it'd be like fun to do that. And Spencer's like, yeah, like it would be good for you guys to get out. You are kind of like shut-ins. You don't understand the gravity of the situation either. The swim teammate, who we find out later, his name is Paige, rallies the team around and hands them all gift boxes and is like boosting morale and gonna give a speech before the coach cuts in. Coach cuts in and is just like, all right, enough about that. Shush, shush, shush. Everybody, let's congratulate Emily on breaking the record. And Paige is mad, and Emily tries to like comfort her, but Paige like shrugs her off and storms off. Arya goes to see Fitz, because she thinks he's alone, but it turns out he's giving a makeup test to students. So then Arya slyly, unzips her jacket and shows like a tie, like says like "wear me" like to him, and hands him tickets to the museum, and he agrees and laughs as she walks out. Hannah walks down the hall as the PE coach stops her and is like, hey, we really missed you in PE class. And Hannah's like, I've missed you too.
That's like my favorite part.
It's really good.
I love Hannah's like lines. I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I am a Hannah, but I love Hannah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely not a Hannah. But
maybe I'm like a Hannah Rising, but like deep in my core, I'm probably more like a Spencer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really don't have like anything in common with Hannah, but it is makes me laugh every episode. And coach says, hey, you've missed too many classes this week, and now you have detention all week. Or the too many PE classes, and now you have detention. Caleb overhears and messes with her, and Hannah is just like, shut up, and goes to her locker and sees a card in there. It's a Mother's Day card, and on the front there's a mother and daughter drawing, and with a word bubble drawn above it that says, I need money. Inside the card, the note says, want to help mama get $2, like dollar signs. Show Arya's mom where her kid's been hiding, and the envelope contains a ticket to the museum. Hannah goes home and sees Ashley curled up near the window, sad. Ashley tries to cover her and is like, oh, I was just going to make you pancakes. Let's like help me out with that. Ashley turns to her and is like, no matter what happens, you'll always be my baby girl, and I'll always figure out a way to take care of you. Hannah then resolves, walks over to her purse, sees the envelope that A had given, and addresses it to Ella. Emily is back in the locker room as Paige comes up to congratulate her. Hey, you're just breaking like swimming records like left and right. And Paige's like, you'll have to do more than that if you want to be captain. Emily's like, I'm not gunning for captain. I just swim really well. Paige then threatens her with knowledge that she's gay, and she's like, I know what team you actually play for. And Emily's like,
the whole team does, or something like that too.
Yeah.
Like,
and Emily's like, why don't you just suck it up and like swim harder?
Yeah, like if you want to beat me, you have to actually swim better.
Exactly. Emily, unfazed.
Mm-hmm. That's what we love to see.
Mm-hmm. Anna writes on the back of the envelope, thank you for like to the Rosewood PTA for like helping out.
Thank you from the Rosewood PTA.
Thank you. And puts it in.
Thank you for it.
Thank you for it, Ella.
You are the PTA.
Right. And puts it in her inbox.
You're both parent and teacher.
You know, one of the best parents we got.
Really the only true parent we've got.
Yeah. Arya walks over to Hannah and it's like, hey, you want to go get a mani-pedi after school? And Hannah's like, no. And Arya's like, are you okay? Like, you seem sad. Is it because of Sean? Like, I know, like, it must be hard. Like, when me and Ezra and, Hannah's like, you sure you two should be dating? Like, maybe you should just like take a break. And Arya gets mad at her. And Hannah's like, I just don't think you should go on this big date. Like, I've got a bad feeling about it. And Arya's like, well, you're just jealous, and walks off. Aggressive. Arya, Spencer, and Emily are digging through their school offered lunch, Spencer tries to make conversation with Arya, and it's like, hey, you excited about or where's Hannah? And Arya's like, I don't know. Then turns to Emily and is just like, hey, how's swimming going? She's like, I don't want to talk about it. Spencer's like, okay, like I'm gonna make conversation now. Arya, you have to be excited about this date, and it gets Arya to open up, and Arya's like, okay, I'm actually really excited. I'm gonna wear this. Blah blah blah. Paige then walks by, and Emily's like, oh, like Paige, like
This bitch.
exactly made a homophobic comment about me, and like has been like riding my ass all week. Spencer's like, I know her. Like she's super intense. She used to play field hockey, and like we made up we nicknamed fouls after her.
A penalty after her.
Yeah. And Spencer's like I'll go beat her up for you, and Emily's like, nah, it's fine. Like I took care of it. And Arya sees the gift box in Emily's bag, and Emily's like, go ahead, open it up. Like I don't want anything from Paige. And inside is a bracelet for the team that looks very similar to Allison's.
And the bracelets all the girls have.
Yes.
With their names on them.
Mm-hmm. Hannah sees the envelope on the desk as Ella is substituting their history class. I missed exactly what moment in history they're talking about, but the lesson is Ella asks Spencer to explain who can explain what this means. And Spencer raises her hand. It's like, it means that you have to stand up to bullies and that you can't just let them get away with whatever you want, because they're just gonna take from you. And Hannah's sitting there just like, wow, cosmic timing. Things this applies to my life.
Hannah has revelation.
Yeah. Hannah tries to run to catch up to Ella after class before the PE coach stops her and is like, nope, you gotta go to detention. Hannah goes and sits down next to Caleb in detention, and he jokes like, oh, are you stalking me? And then oh, maybe you're gonna all pissed about being in this detention. I didn't really like this part. It's very forced. It's like, oh, are you upset because you don't get to go home and watch your Justin Bieber documentary? And Hannah's like, you don't understand Justin Bieber. Get his name out of your mouth.
You have to think the year 2011.
Yeah, they're really trying. It's just a little too forced of trying to be we understand what you're all into. Everybody's into Justin Bieber.
Well, I think it's specifically Hannah. I would argue that you couldn't have this conversation from Arya or Spencer.
No, but it's just
pretty popular girls like Justin Bieber.
Pretty much. Just okay, we get
blonde girls like Justin Bieber.
It's just okay, a bunch of adults written this. I understand now. Hannah mentions
it's weird too, because if adults are writing, then why are there inappropriate relationships? Marlene.
We got questions. Hannah mentions in passing to Caleb that she was trying to catch up to Mrs. Montgomery. And Caleb's like, why are you so upset about it? Okay, whatever. Caleb then gets a pass from the teacher that's excusing him. He's like, hey, my social worker got me out on this, and then shows Hannah his phone. Is like, meet my social worker, and then walks away. And Hannah's like, you scamp. Arya rings Fitz's doorbell into the apartment building, but gets no answer as a limo pulls up behind her. She then calls him to try and see where he is, and he's like, you look very beautiful. And she turns around and sees him in the limo, runs up, and is all excited about it. Hannah gets out of detention, and I'm glad I took this note. Hannah gets out of detention and sees the time, sadly. Ella walks down the street with her coffee, tries to start her car, but it's dead. Emily sees her PE coach, the PE coach and swimming coach, and the coach is like, hey, can we talk? And then Paige joins them as well. Coach's like, I heard there was an incident about a homophobic comment, and we have zero tolerance on this team. So do any of you have anything to say about this?
This would not have happened in my town.
Yeah, this is honestly
how it should be. A good example.
Totally. I was like, damn, this is, I don't even know the coach's name. I'm like, he's a good coach.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, some coach.
Yeah, really sticking behind. It's just we have a zero tolerance policy for homophobia on this team. Oh yeah.
Yeah, where I went to school, there probably were homophobic swim coaches. So
right,
can't tell you that for sure. I don't want to put any words in anyone's mouth, but
no, I mean probably even mine too. Well, what we don't see is the male swim coach. But
men are a problem.
Yeah, Yeah. I have nothing further to say on that. But yes, this coach is great. Emily's like, there is nothing to talk about. like, nope, nothing happened. I'm not going to say anything. So then Paige gets dismissed. The coach then turns to Emily and is like, you have to tell me like what happened or else I can't do anything. And Emily's like, it's nothing. Like, it's taken care of, and leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Byron helps Ella with her car and they argue over the car problems.
Yeah, because he bought a car with the kill switch.
Yeah, it's something about a kill switch. That
It made me think of that line in I Love It by Icona Pop that's like, you're so damn hard to please. We got to kill the switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm a 90s bitch. That's all that did my head the whole time.
Say, you don't
care.
You don't listen to this song at all.
I know. I hate that song. It's definitely not my favorite song like to blast when I just need dopamine, serotonin, any happy chemical.
Yeah, that'll get you there.
Give me something.
Spencer arrives home and sees Jason in the living room. He's like, your housekeeper let me in.
No.
He tells Spencer that the PI said that the picture is real. And that Jason's like, like, full disclosure, I might have taken this. He's like, I barely remember that time because I was high for most of it. Like, I was just like, partying all the time.
Stoned in my room.
Yeah, he's like, I was just getting high with a bunch of losers. They use high. I don't know if they mean that he was just like smoking all the time or if that he was just like high in the general sense of like that I was like using like all month, like of just like smoking and drinking and whatever. Because that's what I got from his general vibe of like, I don't remember stuff. And then like later when he talks about Ian. Jason, like, I just used to get high with like a bunch of losers. Jason asked Spencer, this is where he mentions Ian, if she remembers that phony that Melissa used to date. And Spencer's like, Ian? Jason's like, yeah, we like partied all that summer and like Ian practically lived at my house when Melissa broke up with him.
No, when he broke up with Melissa, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I meant when they broke up. Because I don't think he says specifically that when Ian, he's like, when they broke up, and Spencer's shocked that Ian partied because he's such a like preppy guy and was like the athletic star. Ella continues to make shade about the car breaking down to Byron, and Byron like flips out at her. He's like, wow, I can't believe this. Like, just call AAA next time. And she's like, we're out of tow miles.
Can that happen?
Yes, you get so many like free. I think you pay after that. You get like 500 miles towing or something.
You would think they could afford the towing.
Yes. Well, maybe Ella's like, I should like save my money for like divorce proceedings.
Fair enough.
Byron's like, well, like, sorry to keep you from like going on your date. Ella's like, well, I'm not going on a date. Like, it's not like I'm keeping you from one. And then Byron's like, yep, no date here. And then she's like, oh my God, you were going to go on a date.
That's why you're wearing a new shirt.
Yeah, that's a new shirt. Have you been working out? What the hell is this? And he's like, well, you like told me to get out.
You left me. Remember? And I'm like, no, you made out with and probably slept with your student. Remember? But she doesn't clap back like I would.
No. And then he's like, well, I'll drive you.
Aria did not get her clap back skills from her mother.
No. Yeah, because Byron's in like, well, I'll drive you. And she's like, sure. Spencer and Emily catch up on the plan for the bracelets. Spencer is going to go to the bracelet shop, which is she had to make an appointment because it's at a woman's house. Spencer then asks if Paige is still on the team, like after all that happened. Coach must have done something. And Emily's like, wait, how do you know that the coach knows? And Spencer's like, well, I told her. Paige needs to be put in her place. She's a menace. And Emily's like, why'd you do that? You didn't need to do that. I don't need protecting. Like, what the hell? Like, I told you I'd taken care of this myself. Like, you don't need to worry about me. And Spencer's like, well, you never stood up for yourself to Allie. And then Emily gets mad. Is like, yeah, that's fucked up, and leaves. Ari and Fitz step outside the museum event, are having a good time, even though the artist didn't show up to the event. And they kiss outside, or like he goes to pull his hand away after Ari goes to grab it. And he's like, oh, wait, I forget. We're not in Rosewood. Grabs her hand and they kiss outside of the museum steps and they head back in.
It's almost like it's not still illegal when you're not in Rosewood.
I'm sure a few people were like, well, they look the same age. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a 3-year gap between the two of them, I think. So
right. So it doesn't look that way.
20 and 23 doesn't really look that big.
Hannah visits Ashley at her office to see what the plan is for Mrs. Potter, and she's like, I can't lose you. The secretary then comes in and tells them both that Mrs. Potter had a heart attack and died. And so Hannah and Ashley embrace as Hannah cries. Damn. The universe is very funny. Byron then drives up to the museum to drop Ella off. Ella thanks Byron for driving her all this way. And it's like, not many people would do that for me. Ella then kisses him on the cheek and then stops and leans in and kisses him. Spencer visits the bead lady. Lady said that the
Beads?
Beads? Guess to see who gets more honey.
When in doubt, return to Arrested Development.
Always in my head. The lady said that these bracelets were definitely made in the last 6 months because I always change I changed vendors within that time, and
people didn't like this clasp.
Exactly. Yeah, the clasp. And Spencer's like, who were they purchased by? Can you tell me? And the lady's like, well, they're purchased by Spencer Hastings. Does that help? Hannah approaches Aria at school, and Hannah goes like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, going to apologize. I'm sorry about yesterday and all that stuff, and like starts to go like tell her the truth. And Aria's like, I just want to tell you, like, I had such a great night, like how good my night was last night, and like, sorry I went off on you, and like, you know, I just really, I understand, like, it is weird, but I just really like being with him. And Hannah's like, wait, so like you had a good time with that? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. Ari's like, what were you gonna say? And she's like, good, nothing. Emily is swimming laps and goes to get out of the water until someone grabs her head and pushes her under the water for like a good solid time. Turns out it's Paige, mad that Emily got the anchor spot at the next meet, and is like, I would never rat out a teammate.
So I remembered this scene, and I was like, this will be a good one to record Brenton while he reacts, you know. And like, I was like, I'll record him and then I'll ask him before I post on the internet, just in case you did something really out of pocket, which I can't imagine. And instead, I'll post it on, I'll see, maybe I can give it to you if you want to try to put it in, or if not, I can just post it on my TikTok. It's the lack of reaction that concerned me. You just looked quizzically at it and then typed your notes, and then looked up at it and typed your notes.
I was very focused.
You
I was
were
like,
in
okay,
the zone.
Emily drowning. Okay, she's drowning some more. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I saw the lineup. I know what you're doing. What are you talking about? Coach replaced me as the relay anchor with you.
I was like, oh.
It is a shocking thing. Like, she's like literally getting held under the water. Like, this is physical violence.
And you were non-responsive. You were not worried about Emily for a second.
I actually wasn't. Like, this would be very soon for her to die. But I was very in the zone.
I thought it was so funny. I was like, oh, no reaction.
Right. It's kind of like Mark Cuban scribbling on his notepad. Caleb gets in front of Hannah's locker. And Hannah's like, get out of the way. He then shows Hannah that he pulled a piece, like, oh, this is the reason. Do you want to see the reason that Mrs. Montgomery didn't make it to Philly last night? And shows her a piece. And it's like, oh my God, you like took something out of her car. And it's like, thank you.
The kill switch.
Yeah.
You got to kill the switch. He's from the 70s, but you're a 90s bitch.
Hannah then asks, like, what do you want for it? And he's like, you know, I'll think about it. Walks off. And Hannah's kind of like smiling, like,
What do you think he's going to want?
a date. Like, legitimately.
Like a legit date?
Yeah.
Cute.
Mm-hmm.
You're cute.
We'll see what happens. Aria sees Ella at school and walks over to her, and it's like, and like goes to talk, and Ella's like, hey, how we should go clothes shopping after this. And it's like, oh, okay, that sounds fun. And I was like, hey, how was your sleepover at Spencer's? Aria's like, it was just okay. How was your night? And I was like, oh, I went to this art exhibit in Philly. It was really something. And Aria's like, oh, last night? And she's like, yes, it was a very interesting art exhibit.
I met the artist.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I met the artist.
Because that's how you know she's like,
Right.
like Aria knows she's lying.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. Spencer looks at the Allison photo and has a flashback. Spencer and Allison are inside Spencer's house on the night that Allison went missing. She's wearing that same yellow shirt.
The top.
The yellow top.
This
thank you.
yellow top is obviously the cornerstone of that whole
Well,
timeline.
It is, because everybody's like, oh yes, the top.
Maybe when we finally get like the full timeline, I'll get you a yellow tank top.
Perfect, and I'll wear it as we divulge.
I'll wear my Camp Mona hoodie.
Spencer tells Allie that she should keep her voice down. Melissa can come home any minute. Allison's like, good, I want her to hear. And Spencer's like, why do you care if about this? And let Melissa knows. Allison's like, all I know is that by tomorrow morning, Melissa will know everything. So it's up to you. And Spencer's like, okay, I'll tell her. And just so you know, I'm done with you now. And Allison's like, you can't say that. I made you, and I made all of you. Spencer's like, oh, you're so full of yourself. And Allison he turns to her, it's like, you don't exist without me. Spencer's like, well, what's a leader without followers? Like, what's going to happen to you? Like, when we all like stop following you? And it's like, you're dead to me. And Allison walks out, and Spencer goes to walk upstairs, but then turns around and turns to follow her. Back in the present, we see that Spencer is telling the friends all about this, and that she was the shadow in the picture. Says she didn't tell everyone because she was scared and always wondered if it was her fault for wishing that Allison was dead. Arya comforts her by saying, like, Allie said, like, much worse things. Like,
Allie
all the
was
time.
a bitch.
Right. Like, don't, like, you didn't actually kill her, like, by saying a mean thing because, like, oh boy.
You're not capable
Allison
of witchcraft.
would have murdered the town if words could kill. Spencer has an epiphany and it, like, has, like, a weird, like, look on her face. And like walks over to the window and sees Jason across the way, who looks back at them like with a weird expression on his face, like
in Allie's old bedroom.
Yes,
which is now Maya's bedroom.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's in Maya's house. And at the first I was like, yeah, he just lives there. And then I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. Like we literally in the pilot episode is Maya moving in there. So yeah, he's in like Maya's family home in Allison's old bedroom. We then cut to the bead lady shop owner talking to someone that's again a POV shot, and that person at the POV shot is wearing gloves. She walks over to him and she's like, I did exactly what you told me to do, and smiles. The end.
Oh, also we forgot to mention at the end of the other episode, or did you, that the last scene was Ella at coat check talking to A.
I had that.
Okay, sorry.
Or at least
or someone.
Because we've already broken that it was potentially A, because the one where the memorial is getting broken, we already know is Lucas.
Fair. You're
so like
right.
we should always be skeptical going forward if this is A or not.
Do you think we saw whoever that was at the dance ungloved, or do you think we did not?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think who we see at the dance.
I don't remember who's in the background.
Oh yeah, because I don't remember anybody in the background. At least they could have been there. Yeah, probably in the background somewhere. But I don't the character. I don't think it was any of the characters we actually interact with.
Fair enough.
Because it was all just the main characters: Lucas, Sean, and Fitz and Simone. And I don't think Simone is A. Sorry, Simone, you're not important enough.
You don't think Meg is A?
Maybe. I mean, Meg's kind of a nothing for a while in
Veronica Mars,
and then all of a sudden she's important and dies having Duncan's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to this episode. Jason's back.
Yeah.
Brunette Jason. We haven't moved over to blonde Jason yet.
Bulked up, shaved head, looking a little different.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts and feelings on Jason? Good, bad, in between.
Oh, I have like okay feelings toward him. He seems just like sad and lost. He's good. He's got a heavy sadness around him.
He is sad. His sister died.
Yeah. And like it sounds like the rest of his family is not coping.
And he doesn't remember if that was him, so he doesn't know if he could have had the puzzle pieces for what happened.
Also feeling bad about like how he was like
existing
at that time. So yeah, just a sad dude.
Tell me more about our new best friend, Paige.
Okay, wait. While I do that, because I know you already mentioned that she was from Ned's Declassified.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have you see like what else she was in?
Fun fact: I predicted this coming.
Oh,
so
thank you.
had in fact already opened Paige's IMDb.
I'm like, okay, there's got to be other stuff that she was in for like, for me to like.
Her name is Lindsay Shaw.
Lindsay Shaw.
You can't look her up because I don't want you to see if it's like one season or multiple seasons that
Right.
she's in the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I avoided. I stamped down from doing that.
Then again, I guess you could always, like, depending on what it is, kind of play your own mental game on what it is because it doesn't really matter. She was in an episode of Lucifer, Involuntary, Reboot Camp. Hold on, we're moving backwards. The Picture, Pretty Little Liars.
Oh.
Before this, she was in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, Teen Spirit, the movie from 2011.
Oh.
Gideon, which is a short.
Okay.
A
Never
video
mind.
game called Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Oh, that's really funny.
Nick and Tristan Go Mega Dega.
God no.
10 Things I Hate About You, the TV series.
Oh. Interesting.
I think she was the main girl in it.
What is it? Catherine?
Yeah, Kat or
Yeah. Because that would be Julia Stiles' character.
Aliens in America.
Okay. Never mind. I thought I knew her from something. It's all
Ned's
big
Declassified School Survival Guide.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
She was Mosley.
Yeah,
The girl.
right.
Like, I mean, she was the girl.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I thought I knew her from something else. Okay.
She is in
More
55 episodes of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Damn. Okay, cool. Oh, but okay, so back to Paige. As soon as like this opened with her and Emily on this, I'm like, oh, like I didn't foresee where the rest of this episode was going, but I'm like, oh, this is a love interest. Which
Do you still think it is with her drowning her?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
Or at least like someone that is interested in Emily eventually. Because this could be a like I'm homophobic because I have like, well, I mean, she sees her as a threat. The homophobia is just like, this is like leverage I can use against you.
Mm-hmm.
And she is jealous that she's coming for a spot. So she seems very tightly wound. So is going to like come after her. But I feel like when that facade breaks down, it's just like, okay, I'm actually like,
I'm in love with you.
I am. Yeah. And mostly I kind of pulled this ideas of like, oh, this is love interest. It's like, oh, this is a new character that's being introduced that is the same age as these other people by themselves, like away from the rest of the group.
Similar to like how you viewed Caleb with Hannah.
Exactly. Hannah is the one that like makes a move and then they like interact pretty much by themselves. I'm like, oh, this could go either way between like Hannah and Emily, but then it's like, oh no, Hannah's always leading the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it'll bring. But in this episode, she's an absolute monster.
Mm-hmm.
She literally holds Emily's head under the water.
She drowns her.
Uh-huh. It's like, oh my God, like the jump to physical violence is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Add her to the menace list. She's maybe top of the list because physical violence is happening.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. And also, like, just an awkward human of just like, I'm going to hand everybody gifts. It's like, oh, it's team spirit because, like, I'm the captain. I have to do these things. And people are like, you really don't.
Yeah. Or I want to be captain, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll see where you go with Paige. The bracelets.
Yeah, she's a lot.
Let's talk about the bracelets, the
Yeah.
beaded bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
So now we know they're not from a gas station.
Right. Right. But you were right that someone's making a lot of money.
This is a big business in this town, apparently.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we have the woman at the beaded store is obviously being bribed by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why would you
Right.
take that bribe? I don't know.
I know. She seems very chummy with this person too, like very excited that she's doing this.
She also says they have, what was it, like pretty eyes or something like that?
Yes, it's like,
Nice.
your eyes are.
Like you're,
She uses something very specific that I've lost of just like how unique their eyes are almost. It's not just like you have pretty eyes. It's like, like I can see into your like soulful eyes or something.
what do you think, whose eyes do you think those are? I don't know if we ever find out, but I thought this would be fun.
I know. 'Cause it would probably be A's. I think it's got to be A.
So do you think we've seen these eyes before?
Yes, but I don't know whose. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I'm at a loss.
Fair
I
enough.
am thrown by this the shopkeeper's intensity with working with this person.
Okay.
But that's the stuff like when it ended, I was like, God damn it! Like I know we're not gonna find out next episode, but I'd really like to play like the next episode.
Isn't
Like this isn't gonna come up, but like I would like to like at least like see what's on the other side.
And that's how you end up watching all of the season of Pretty Little Liars in one sitting.
Yeah, it's a good hook. It's like damn it, like the having the like random like shop lady be in on it to like throw them. Like that's a good twist.
Well, and it also highlights that Spencer now realizes that like whatever game they're playing is so much more above and beyond and advanced from what she thought in terms of like now she's being framed.
Right.
If someone looks into this themselves, they're going to find her.
Right.
So if she goes to the police with that,
it's then they're find her. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting. It's not just cards anymore.
It's not just really large tarot cards.
Oh, I was talking about cars.
Oh yeah, cars either.
Yeah, really large tarot cards. Where is this?
Let's talk about Hannah.
Yeah.
Do you think they killed Miss Spot?
I know, what the hell? Ashley's like, I'll take care of it.
She choked on the candy?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Well, she had a heart attack.
This is the butterscotch. Good God, like they're the universe lining up for them to be like, okay, no need to take responsibility for things, like is gonna end up biting them way in the ass.
Did they get to keep the money then forever?
Right. Who? No, I think that buys them time.
But she's the last heir. Remember, she said that
right.
She inherited all her sister's stuff and she didn't have kids.
Yeah. What happens to a safety deposit box in that situation?
I think they keep contacting next of kin until they find somebody. But
right. So like a distant cousin is going to come knocking on Ashley's door. Like, where's the money?
But how would they know? They wouldn't know how much money she had.
Right.
Because she had it in cash.
I know. So that's also sketchy. Maybe someone's going to come looking for the cash because it's cash. Giant bundles of cash.
But it was from her sister dying, so.
And her sister also died of a heart attack.
There's
a whole other, I don't know. Whole other spree murder happening off screen.
It's a serial killer backstory.
Exactly.
It's a B plot.
But we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, there's just so much happens to them this week that they just go like, okay, today's not the day that we need to like
deal with this.
Exactly.
And her tombstone was the one that said 2011, so that's why I was like, oh, that's where we are now. We're in the new year.
So yeah, boy, the Mrs. Potter dying thing, I was like, Jesus. That's pretty dark. But yeah, Hannah, you know, she's with the stuff with Aria, you know, that's not a good friend. Like, you don't be doing that to like rat her out, but like at the same time, like, you know, you should maybe be helping her to get out of the relationship for like better reasons.
Yeah, like if you actually were like, hey, this is probably a problem because you know, she's dating our teacher.
Right. And it seems like Hannah does at least like seem at least partially like weirded out by it. Because she's like, oh, you're going with Mr. Fitz. But yeah, she's not doing it for the right reasons this week.
Yeah.
It is very funny that the like history lesson, for whatever reason, I forget what it was like, yes, don't stand up to bullies, which has me concerned that it's just like, what is this conflict we're talking about? Are we talking about World War II or something? Or
yeah, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I missed it, but yeah, not a banner episode for Hannah.
No, but we did get detention with Caleb.
Yep.
Don't you love a bad boy?
Exactly. We get more blossoming romance between this guy who, you know, only says you know, semi not mean things.
He's just sparring.
Exactly. Just bantering things with her, and it's like, oh, well, I actually helped you out. I don't know why you needed to help out, but I did.
In high school, I used to get so mad because like no one could banter, and like I was nothing if not capable of bantering. And so I think that might have been why people were afraid of me. Also,
because you could
could run my mouth. But some of us just wanted a Caleb, someone to verbally spar with and then walk away.
So yeah, that was like, oh, yep, these two are definitely gonna end up together.
I don't know though. I was a pretty big fan of Ezra too, just like as a person, not as a teacher.
Oh my God, he's such a good teacher. I mean, he's just berating his male students. That was just a once.
Yeah, and no con.
Yeah. Well,
is Noel in jail?
did he get like suspended?
But the police were with him, remember?
Right.
Because he had all the answers to the test?
Answers to the test.
Or was it just campus security?
It might have just been campus police, yeah.
I don't know if you arrest someone for cheating.
I don't think so. You maybe just get suspended or expelled. So maybe that's where he's at right now.
He's homeschooled now.
He's just hanging out at home.
Ella's car and the kill switch, and then Ella and Byron.
Yeah. I don't like them. I don't like this direction because of them potentially seeing each other again, because Byron has not done anything positive. So that makes me sad for Ella.
I feel like they should go to therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
If they want to work on that. If they don't want to just cut it and run.
Totally, yeah. But like the entirety of this episode is like them like yelling at each other, and then he drives her to the museum, and then they it's just like he should maybe do some work rather than just being like, I'm not going to move out of the house. He made her move out of the house.
Yeah, you left us, remember? I'm like, I think you made out with your student, sir.
Exactly.
Actually, I know you did. And you asked your child to lie.
Yeah. And he's not doing anything to make up for that.
Nope.
So that's why it's...
and that's why your daughter's dating her teacher.
You set a bad example. She learned it from watching you.
Spencer, Emily Paige. I feel like Spencer thought she was doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was misguided, but
no, I was all for it.
I would have done that.
Yeah, I was all for it. I'm like, no, this is right. Like, I mean, she's offered to beat her up.
I don't like the comments she made about her not defending herself.
No, I don't like that. But I think that's a good move. And I understand why Emily's sensitive about it. Because she's like, I'm standing up for myself now.
I handle it myself. I do it myself.
Yeah, I'm doing things for myself now. And like, I'm on this path, and I still see that as babying me, because I'm still
I don't need to be protected.
Exactly. I'm still working out how to like do this and then also feel confident.
Jason and Ian getting high, talking about life.
Yeah, that's
vibing, thriving, surviving.
That's a dark party. When you end up at that, it's like, oh damn it, I'm Ian's here. Maybe Jason would have been all right, but like, damn. It's a bad vibes when Ian's around. Ian's got nothing good to say.
Yes. I do wonder what their stoner conversations were.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been making out with your little sister.
Right, exactly.
And just my ex-girlfriend's little sister.
Yeah, just weird comments about women would be the vibe for sure.
Locker room talk.
I guess Jason being like, okay.
I hate it.
Me too. Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Why did Ella lie to Aria about going to the art exhibit when she could have just said that she went to dinner?
Right. Maybe.
I mean, we needed that because we needed the plot point that Aria figures out her mom's lying.
Maybe also because she thinks it's a gift from the PTA. So like, she was
should have gone
the ticket and should have gone maybe. But yeah, exactly. It's more of I see the thing as like, yes, plot reasons. Have Aria be like, oh no,
she's lying.
And then, but like, why would you bring up that museum?
But
really
then,
make her sweat.
But then realizing that her mom was lying to her because she said she met the artist. Spencer's flashback. Thoughts, feels, reactions.
Oh no. I like that we're getting more of like what happened that night. It's always good to like have like little puzzle pieces to fit in. And that like it's come at this point in the season, so we know that Allison is probably being just really vindictive toward Melissa because earlier in the season, I think
if you don't tell Melissa, I will.
Exactly. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And you were kind of like, You were like, what's your reaction? What's your read on that? I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, she's probably just being mean, but like, that's probably a good thing. It's like, oh no, she's just trying to be vindictive because like she has a thing with Jason or
She's a
Ian.
menace.
Mm-hmm. An absolute menace, and has a thing with Ian.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just
Mhm.
trying to like, well, burn the bridge for both of you.
Mm-hmm. They get the whole Hastings family out of the way then.
You can clear these pieces off the board. So yeah, that's an absolute top tier menace move there. And Spencer, this is a little lesson too that she's learning about like worker solidarity. Also, it's just like, hey, we have more power than you, leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You cannot mistreat us.
And that was before Alex.
And that's why us and the friends are all unionizing. Exactly.
We are Pretty Little Liars, and you can't be part of the union because you're the manager.
Exactly. We demand you to stop messing with us all the time.
Exactly.
And say at least one nice thing to us a day.
There you go. I love it.
Just one.
And then, okay, let's do like a little menace check-in. Like, who are your menaces? We got Paige.
Who's the
top of the list?
Yeah, because she's physical altercations.
Yes, she is, in fact.
Allison is, right up there too because she's just trying to destroy people all the time. Mona is not here this week. Jenna is not here this week.
Is Mona truly a menace either? Is she just having fun?
I mean, she could be a menace and also have fun. And be fun to watch. So I think there's that menace side to her.
Okay.
Jenna not here this week.
Mm-mm.
I don't think we got any other menaces. I don't think. Noel.
Noel.
Potentially suspended or expelled.
Ian.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. He's up there too. Top tier. He's got really bad vibes because you would believe that he would potentially strike Spencer in that instance when he's grabbing her by the arm.
Mm-hmm. Which makes you wonder what he did to Allison.
Exactly. Maybe supports my theory. Who knows? After
this episode, that theory you have still upholds?
Yes.
Okay. And do you still hold on to that back burner of Ezra?
Yeah, because I don't have any other. I guess maybe Jason. But I don't have a theory on that because that would line up with that A is doing something to like avenge Allison. So like Jason could potentially be doing that, and he could also reliably suspect that the friends were potentially involved because he doesn't know, or like using them to get at people.
Do you think that?
So he's a potential too.
So you think, but you think that Ian's the killer regardless?
Yeah.
Just across the board for all of your theories?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Smoking gun or the bloody knife or whatever.
Depending on your theory, the attempted killer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Either the killer or attempted killer.
Exactly. Yeah. He attempted to kill no matter what, whether he succeeded or not.
Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Jason is a potential throw the hat in the ring there of, that like trying to get justice or something for Allison, and he's already voiced a couple times that like
he could be worse than her.
Exactly, and we aren't going to get justice until the police find the killer.
Huh?
Yeah. So potentially,
I like it. Any other people theories? Even in terms of the murderer, you're just Ian all the way.
Oh yeah, exactly. We're not entertaining any of their suspects.
Fair enough. Let's talk about our secrets.
Okay. Hannah again.
Her and her mom.
All that stuff going on there.
And her and Caleb. Like him doing the thing for Ella's car.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was like, no, don't take that.
I was like, wait a minute, like
you don't remember them
talking to each other?
You don't remember them making out? It's hard to remember.
Exactly. Aria just her date with Fitz, keeping it from her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Emily, nothing. I guess like getting drunk at the dance competition from her parents. I don't think Spencer has anything either from the friends because she told them all. We also, we find out and then we cut to her telling them about like, yeah, me and Allison having an argument.
Yeah, and that I said mean things.
Mm-hmm. That I regret.
Any other relationships you want to touch on?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. And then one last check-in on favorites.
Oh, yes. Hannah took some hits this week, but she's still top.
She's still top.
Spencer in just like survival mode is great. And Emily and Arya both getting aggressive in different senses this week is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Irrational Arya is fun.
Irrational Arya only comes up like there's like pockets of her.
Mm-hmm. Where she's just like I'm
and like it's like when
when
Sean did the thing when he sent her the flowers and she went after him. Like there's like a handful of times throughout the series we get like a really good like Arya's just gonna like rip you to shreds moment, and I'm always like, yeah,
that's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
And then I like Emily standing up for herself. Even if she's like, oh, Paige is resorting to physical violence, was I was not expecting. Was good.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm not gonna back down.
And we didn't get any Toby, so we can't speak to him.
No, can't speak to Toby.
We don't know enough about Caleb.
Yeah. Like I said, drop the act and we'll see.
Yeah, he's sending emails from his social worker. So
exactly. Yeah, he's doing cool tech stuff.
Caleb's plot point is tech solutions.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna give that to you now because it's
it
there.
It seems like it. Yeah, he's already doing it.
Caleb is plot device.
He allowed Emily to call Maya. He got himself out of detention. He's doing stuff with, tech.
The question will be, will there be more? Will there be more to Caleb? Right. Or will he just be a tech solution?
Nah, I bet there'll be more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all of the potential love interests and boys, Toby your favorite?
Yes. And then,
I mean, I guess he's not really potential because Emily wasn't ever going to date him.
No. So Caleb's probably top there. Everybody else.
Ezra anchoring the bottom.
I was going to say the competition's not great.
You're like Byron.
It's Byron. Yeah. But
we don't have a lot of boys right now. Lucas,
no.
I mean, he's not really an option either, though.
No.
Kind of like Toby, where it's just like he's a boy.
Exactly. Like I said, I understand Lucas, but I don't think he's a good match. He's got some growing to do.
Maybe he'll find someone else.
Totally. I hope he does. I wish him happiness. I do not harbor ill will towards Lucas, but he's just,
wish him happiness.
Exactly. He's just not acting as his best self.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Those are all my questions for you. Did you have any other things you wanted to bring up on this episode?
No. I think we got
thorough.
it all. I know. We got a long one this week.
We got a long one. We got a live one. We got a long one.
That's right. We did have a live one, though. These were good episodes. I enjoyed these episodes.
They gave us a lot of meat. We got some filling.
Exactly.
Well, in that case, I'll plug.
Yeah, let's do it.
When I'm not here doing this, sometimes I sit on the other side of the room and do other things. One of those things is that I'm a life and career coach, and I help people.
It's on the other side of the bookshelf.
No, it's right there.
Oh, okay.
I help people figure out what they want to do with their lives or for a living, or how to set good boundaries between themselves and work, because like work sucks sometimes and most of the time, and it's important to really prioritize yourself in your working relationship.
As the wise men from Blink-182 once said, work sucks.
I know. You can find all of my coaching information and all of the other content I create over on butreallythough.com. Though is spelled THO. There's also a link to my TikTok there, and that's where I'll post career coaching things, but also clips of Brenton watching Pretty Little Liars. So be prepared, and his theories for you to comment on. So Brenton doesn't have TikTok, so if I post his theories and you want to laugh at him, congratulate him, or land somewhere in the middle, which is I feel like more accurate, feel free, leave a comment. He'll never see it until we're done, and then I'll show him to him. So if you say something really mean, I will tell him.
And I did also I did forget to mention, we still don't know who died from when they crossed out the number on the Rosewood sign. So stay tuned for the
who died at homecoming.
So then you can find this podcast on YouTube at Dead Ends. You can also find it on any of your podcast platform of choice at Dead Ends, and we appreciate any reviews, and subscribers and likes and engagement. This is just kind of us doing this. We don't do advertising. So, help us out. We appreciate it. And you can also find us doing Let's Plays over on my YouTube, Burger Discourse. We're playing through Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories right now. And you can also find my other writing blog stuff at burgerdiscourse.com.
Bye, friends.
Oh, wait. We're still here,
bitches.
We're still here, and we're gonna find out everything.
You know nothing.
I absolutely know nothing. So enjoy my theories.